Dave here. How are you? I hope everyone's well. Today is the 4th of November. Notice I don't say November 4. That's just how we do it here in Australia. Okay, so the 4th of November, I nearly said November 4. Packed show today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off out there with the CNC. I have a sheet loaded already, so what I'm going to do is I will set the machine up and get it ready to run, and then I will show you how easy it is. The storage that I've got out there now, drag a sheet out of the rack. I have a table that I keep out there that's on wheels, easy for me to load onto the CNC. We'll go through that. Behind me, I have the little benchtop planer thicknesser, and I will show you how to adjust for parallel. I never knew how to do this until yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I get people ring me up and say, Dave, how do I adjust it? I'm about 0.5 millimeter out from one side to the other. And I'd always said, I don't think you can, but you can, and it's dead easy, and it may work for your particular machine, but at least it'll give you a heads up as to how to do it. I actually read the instructions. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I hope everyone's well, and we've got plenty of people here waiting already. Like, I noticed there were 17 or 20 odd people waiting around about 20 minutes ago, which is great. Terrific. I will see if I can move things around a little here. We'll go to this one so we can see the chat as well. I'm going to have a quick read down the side. Morning all from Barry Doxy, John Og, hi to all. Ken Wheels, yeah, warm day. Peter Lysiak, bugger no cuppa, might have to grab a whiskey. A little early, sun hasn't gone over the yardarm yet, Peter. Mark Bonger's morning all, still early today. Francis Cooter, good. He's ready. Read the F manual. Yes, that's the last resort, of course it is. Vic Teslin. When Vic was over here on these little tour, the Veritas Down Under tour, he made comment, as a matter of fact, you know, when you're doing things, the last thing, of course, you do is read the manual. And why? And he said, because we all have penises. We don't want to be told how to do things. We know. So the crowd all laughed, but yeah, I thought maybe you got a point there, Vic. Anyway, let's have a quick look. I need your number. I've got no idea what's happening there. Good morning from Canberra from David Rollins, Luke Wilson, evening from Louisville, KY. I'm going to slide out to the other room now. Let's see if I can get this up there. And what have we got? Garage cam. There we go. Now I've got CNC router parts name up. I'm going to switch it over there. I've got CNC router parts name up in the corner because they are the people who supplied that CNC machine for me, and I will give credit where credit due. That machine is fantastic. I'm going to go out there now, and hopefully you can see me. Just checking on the monitor. Yes, here I am. Now, as I said earlier, it may sound a little echoey. I don't have the chat running down the right-hand side at the moment. We will jump back to it very soon. I wanted to have a nice big area for you to see what I'm doing. Now, first thing is show you how I load a sheet. I've already put this sheet on. It's ready to go. You'll notice there's screws here as well. I do not have a vacuum table to hold this sheet down onto the machine. It's an 8-foot by 4-foot panel. I screw the sheet down. I could clamp on the sides, and sometimes I do, but down in the middle, if the sheet has got a little bit of a bow in it, I'm working to slots that are only 1.5 millimeters deep here. So I want this sheet pulled down hard. So the first lot of tooling that I will do is the V-cutter, and it will cut out all of the circles and stop any tear out. And then I will switch it over from there, hopefully during the show, to the 3/8 end mill, and it will do some tracks and a couple of other things. And then the tool paths all stop then, and the show will be over by that stage. And then I'll move the screws down into those areas that the cutter has already passed. And so that will continue to hold the sheet down while it does the rest of the cutting, because it's going to cut the whole thing out for me. There is no table saw used in this. The whole job is done by this CNC machine. I do run the sander over things at the end, and I run it over a trimmer right at the end as well, just to tidy a few things up. But here we go. I'll show you how I move the sheets around. Now under here, I have this table. Now I ran through tidying this table up. I picked it up with a dingo and cleaned it off with a pressure cleaner, and then sanded it off and put a few coats of wax on it. And it's on casters, and they are lockable. So when I bring sheets in with the trailer, I lock this table, I back the trailer right up to the other end, I slide the sheets up onto this table, and then I can move this around a little bit, then I slide them off here into the rack. Now, it might seem like it's a little bit hard to do that. Now, I'm only one guy, and I'm not a big fella, I keep on telling everyone, only a little guy, but it's very easy if you use your brains. This is pallet racking. The reason I'm using this is I've had pallet racking for years for storing timber. When I finished homes, we would bring stuff back, take it off to the next house. And I've just noticed the way in most of the timber yards, this is how they store their sheet goods. It comes in big packs. They put it up onto the pallet racking. So I'm going to pull it back here a little bit, possibly about there. I'm going to lock the casters on this side, because they can. And then it's a simple matter, this is one full sheet of melamine, to rotate it where I am, pull it back towards me, down onto the table, I'm pushing, rotate when it's on the table, and then all I do is I pick this end of the sheet up, and you can see how easy it is from there. I just push it up onto the CNC, turn it, screw it down or clamp it down however I want. Now, putting it back into the racks is pretty easy. I just reverse the process. Pull it back. I'm nearly halfway past its tipping point, which is a similar system to what I use on my sheet lifter. Pick it up, rotate it in the pallet racking, come along, push it all the way in to there. And I made sure with this table that I made sure, sorry, with that bottom lot of pallet racking that it was high enough for the table to go under. So the table lives in here now. I use it for functions. If we've got a barbecue or a picnic or something like that, or a birthday party, I can wheel that out, use it outside, bring it back in. It doesn't live outside anymore. Wheels, casters on tables like that are fantastic. All right, I'm going to switch the cameras again so we can see what's happening with other stuff. I'm hoping everyone's having a good chat. Okay, let me see what we've got here. That one looks to be better. Okay, now back out to the CNC and we'll get it running. I'm sure people are watching. No comments. Keep on talking, guys. Keep on talking. I'm hoping it's still streaming. Is it still running? Someone throw up a comment to make sure that so I know what's going on. I will do the transition as well. That was lucky I didn't go out to the other room. Stuart West, how are you? Off to the corner already, are you? Okay, so we're doing so well. It's only 8 minutes past and we're getting on top of it. Out to the machine again. All right, first thing to do is to notice this is my little command center. This is a little laptop that tells that thing down the end there what to do. I shall turn the laptop on and I'm going to turn the motors on, the stepper motors as well. So they're the motors, one up the top, one either side, one either side to make it run this way, and there's one on the top that makes it go that way, and there's another one, around the back, this one makes it go up and down. So that's your X, Y, and Z axis. How good is this, being able to turn this around like this so you don't see my password? Oh, it was wrong. I'm in. Ha, like the Matrix. Okay, now I'm going to load I'm going to start Mach 3. So you might be able to see what's happening down here. I hope you can. So I'm going to say OK, it's loading Mach 3. Now Mach 3 is the program that converts my G code into telling that box down there to direct that machine down there. It's not too hard. First thing we have is it's going to say reset. Now when you turn on Mach 3, the beginning, it's all going to come up in imperial. So it's saying it's 91 inches down the y-axis. The x is -6 inches and the z is 5.7 inches above here So you'll see under here, there's the cutter, 5.7 to there. As soon as I load the G-code for my job, this will all go to metric because that's what I've told it to do in Aspire. Now this might bore some of you, but other people might find this interesting. Okay, so now I have to hit the reset button and I have to load the code, and I have it here on, let's go to the USB, wherever it is, there it is. Open that, and first toolpath is the one that I want. So it's loading it, it's all in. It's a text file, that's all it is. We'll say go away Windows, I don't want you to talk to me about any of that, close that. Now also it's very important while you're doing this that you're totally offline and not connected to anything. You do not want a Windows update to happen while the machine's running. Okay, next thing to do is bring it back here. So I'm going to bring it back here. And this might seem a little boring, but what we're going to do next is get the touch plate, and we're going to tell the machine this corner, because everything that I've designed on this program is running off this corner. It's my point of reference. You can run it off any corner or the center, but I try to work from the left-hand corner here. It's nearly here. It's nice and quiet, isn't it? That's quiet at the moment, but anyway. Now you'll notice also I have a spiral up cutter in there. I'm going to switch that out in a minute, but I need to tell it where it is. Okay, so I've brought it up to this corner. Now what I'm going to do is I'll turn this around so I can get it to work properly, is I'll get the touch plate. Now this is called a touch plate, and it's a very sensitive area here, and it's got these little bumps on the bottom here, so I can put it into the corner there, and so it's going to tell me my X, Y, and Z axis. It's got a magnet here, which is going to allow it to complete a circuit. So what's going to happen is when I tell it to come down and touch that, it will complete an electrical circuit, it will stop the machine from going down, it will tell that the height less 18 millimeters, because that's what I've told it. I've told Aspire that this sheet is actually 18 millimeters wide, or thick. I'm going to bring it back a little to about there. Now, you might be able to see this while I do this. I'm going to say auto tool 0, which means it's going to zero the tool. So it does it by default on the Z axis. I'm going to tell it to do it on the Y axis and the X axis as well. Once I've done that, I can hit the enter button or I can hit OK. Now when I do this, it's going to start traveling down slowly. So it's coming down and it's going to touch that spring-loaded touch plate and pop back up again. Now it's saying to me, Dave, we want to do the X axis. Can you rotate the cutter so that the flutes are this way? So it's going to touch this side of the touch plate, its housing. Now with a spiral cutter, it's pretty good because it's got curves, so I don't have to get it dead on. It will find it pretty well. And then I hit OK, and it's going to travel across until it touches it and spring back. Now I have to aim it down the Y axis, the flutes on the cutter. So I'll do that like so. Now this part is a little bit important. You've got to be careful with this. When it's finished, it's going to jump back this way and up, but you have to be aware that the motor is right here as well, and you don't want your little pinky to get caught in there. So let's go that and watch. I keep my fingers out of the way here. I'm just holding it down so it doesn't move around. See that? Okay, now I'm going to take the touch plate off, and I've got some sponge rubber down there that it goes onto. Now that I've got that, I'm going to take that cutter out of there because that's not the cutter I want. But I have told the machine all of the coordinates for this corner because it didn't know that. When you turn it off, it just forgets everything. So I'm going to get a couple of spanners. Now why am I doing this? Because I'm going to use this cutter. This is a V cutter, and it does all the prep work to start. All right, whoop, don't bump that, David. Spin this around again this way. And this is a 20 millimeter on the top of the spindle. Now the other thing is the spindle is turned off totally. I haven't even turned the spindle on. It's run by what's called a variable frequency drive, which is a whole other box. Now, I'm speaking quite easily about this now. 6 months ago, I would have no clue whatsoever about what I'm doing. And you know what? Being 60 plus, this is great. Great for this. Don't go hitting your head too much with this, David. Okay, now I'm going to undo this. These are called ER20 collets. So in a router, you've got a standard 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch collet. Well, these are kind of like that, but that's a 1/2 inch with a 3/8 cutter. But these are designed to put a little bit more pressure on. So I'm going to run that up to about there. They're both 1/2 inch shank. Go in here again with this bad boy. And it's important that this is done up tight. Now you'll notice also during the week I put something on Instagram where I had an accident. I hit one of these, a smaller one, took out a screw. It just smashed the screw because I wasn't thinking. That's the important thing with this. You've got to keep your wits about you. All right, now that I've done that, I need to get the touch plate out again for its Z-axis. Now, you guys in the States will call it a Z-axis. We call it a Z-axis. It's got to come back down because I've moved the height this way on that particular cutter. It remembers where everything else is. So now when I ask it to do the, let's pop that back a little bit. When I say Auto Tool 0, I'm only going to ask it to do the Z-axis. I'm not going to tick the X and the Y. And say, okay, so now down she'll come. And it's just going to pop back up again. Beautiful. Now, it knows that this corner here now is 0. Height, width, and length. Now we put the dust extraction boot on. It's MDF. I'm not going to run this machine without the dust boot on. It will drop a little bit, but not much. Next thing to do is don't make the mistake that I've made before and forget to turn the spindle on. Because it starts burying itself in the bed and it's not fun. So I'm going to turn the dust and the spindle on. It's going to make a little bit more noise. That's my dust extractor on. And it's sucking up through there nicely. And I'm going to say, turn the spindle on. Beautiful. I'll take this cutter out and put it over here. All right. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well down here, but I've got a whole lot of colours. They're the paths that this cutter is going to track. At the moment it's telling me I'm 24 millimeters above the sheet. I'm 24 millimeters in from the corner, 24 millimeters in from the corner on the y-axis, and 38.1 millimeters above the surface of the sheet. It's all done for you. All right, if nothing else, this is going to satisfy curiosity for you. Right, next thing to do, I'm going to do a quick check because if it starts up and I haven't got something right, it ends up messy and costly. I'm all good, I've got the G code in. It knows where to go, I've told it where it's living. I can now go to cycle start. And it's run down here, it's got a little yellow flashing light. It's saying, Dave, do you want to change the tool at all? I've done that already, so we're good to go. Now down here is an emergency stop button. I keep my hand over that just as the machine starts up and I know where it's going to go. I have had the machine go this way and straight down before I knew what I was doing, and it's not fun. Okay, so I'm going to say cycle start. It's going to turn the spindle on. It'll raise up, or probably it'll go down a little bit first. It'll turn the spindle on up to 22,000 RPM. It will track across and it's going to do a couple of circles here, then it's going to go all around the place and do some carving. Here we go. Hand over here, spin her up. There we go. All right, I'm going to shut this door. Down to about there. How cool is that? All right, I'm going to go to, I'll leave it there for the moment. All right, is everyone going well? I'm just reading through the chat here. Okay, so that's, how nice is that? It's merrily working away out there. Isn't that amazing? Now there's a whole heap of chat has happened here about added holes for X-cut and rip with the CNC. How would the holes be located? Look, do you want me to hit that right now? Because I'm ready for it. Let's go to, yeah, let's go to that one. How's that? So you can see the machine working away in the background. You can see the chat. You can see Muggins here while I do some demonstration. And you know what? I may even go to CarlCam in a second. But what do you think about that machine? Isn't it amazing? I forget where to look. There's cameras everywhere. Drink of water. Alrighty, I'm going to slide back down to where the chat is happening. Okay, Uli, hey Dave, nice setup, thank you. Clem, Doug, morning all. Matthew Foyle, hi Dave from Toowoomba. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now, I'll go to CarlCam. This is going to be easier. Carl's not here at the moment. He's got a function on. So there's CarlCam and me. All right. Now, the question is, see this hole here and this hole here. Chris wants to know how to put those in. Now, really, it's quite easy. You get a couple of dogs. Now, these just happen to be TSO's tapered dogs. Put one in there, and I think I've got another one there. Sorry. Put one in there and one in there. Pretty easy so far, isn't it? Get my glasses and see if I can remember how I worked it all out this morning. Next thing is you work out the distance to the... Whoop! I ran into something. What have I hit? Give me a second. I've run into that screw again. It happens. It's still cutting well though. I don't know why it did that. Are they on the same line or not? That one's out. I know what happened. I'll whip this out. Okay. It'll be all good. Okay, scary bears. That's okay though. Now, it just nicked one of the screws. Now, how that happened was I made a template yesterday to check out composite nail guns, Dave. Hold down your material without worrying about collisions. It's only mild steel. It's fine. So what happened was I made a template yesterday, but there was another hole in the template, and I put texture and everything around it. So there were two screws in the way just then, and that was a bad move. But anyway, I will make another template for those screws for where they have to go, and all will be good. It'll be fine now. All right, now, but it is fun, isn't it? gets you going. All right, here we go. Now down here, I've got this, and this is the path guide. So the first thing we need to do is we need to measure the width of your track. Always something going to happen, isn't there? So this is a Festool track. You measure the distance from there out to the edge. You're going to subtract a couple of millimeters back this way so that you've still got the splinter guard sitting on here on the edge. Let me bring that back a little. How's that? Still got the splinter guard sitting on that. And then your diameter of the hole is 20 millimeters. So you allow for that as well. And so you subtract a couple and add 10. That's basically the easiest way to do it. So that's going to give us the center there. And then you put a little pencil mark in the center where that hole is going to be. Doesn't have to be super accurate, just as long as this is going to have a little bit of overhang over the edge. All right, now once we've got that center mark drawn on, we can come back this way a little bit and put a bit of a center mark there as well. And we say, right, well, that's where we want to go. Then you can get this, and you put it up against those dogs. And then you measure the distance from the center here. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky, because we want the center of that 3mm hole, not the big hole. Well, it's the same thing, but it's easier to do it this way. We want the center of that 3mm hole right over where that point's going to be. Another way you could do it is possibly, yeah, look, I think the best way to see, if we drilled a hole there to start, you've got the problem of this possibly going like that, and you're not going to get an accurate parallel line to these dogs, and that's the whole thing. We need to do that. So you measure the distance from there back to the center of the hole, where you put that little mark, and then you rip a piece of timber to 1mm or 2, thicker, wider than that. Then you put it through your thickness planer until you have it pretty spot on. Then you can take this out, bring it back to here, put your piece of timber right the way across, and then all you do is use that piece of timber as a guide for this to work along. And then you do it the same way as you would have used your path guide system in the first place. That will ensure that you get a dead parallel line to your dog hole situation. So then you do the hole there, and then you bring it back to this side and do the hole back here as well. And then it's the same kind of principle for the rip holes as well. It's not that hard. Okay, so Chris, I'm hoping that's addressed it for you. There's no real need to worry about using the path guide system apart from this. Once you're done, you're only doing 2 holes, so it's really not going to do it. You're totally off your standard grid to start with. Okay, let me have a read. Try keeping track of the error sounds with 3 machines running at the same time. Okay. Yes, that's with your printers, John. Dave Rollins, it's great to find out how to make these holes near the edge of the benchtop, but what is the use of the holes for? Okay, so the reason we have these holes out here is that you can get a larger piece in here. So I have all of a sudden increased the distance by around, maybe 40 or 50mm. And that's handy sometimes if you absolutely need that. The other reason is, as I explained on the show last week, or the week before, I forget which one, as you're coming through here with the saw might be down, the saw's motor overhangs the edge of the track, and it can collide with that. The further away that is from these holes, the better it is. So I can get a small dog there and a small dog there, or wherever, and I've got a whole lot more control over the piece of timber, so it's not wobbling around at all, being held by back there. If I have my dogs there and there, I have the possibility of running and cutting through my benchtop, and I don't want to cut through the benchtop. I want to hang over the edge, okay, like that, and like that, and like that. And what can happen there is I can put something under there to support the offcut. And a sustainer, a Cis1, is the ideal thing. It can live there, you cut straight across, the offcut drops onto that. You can put a little bit of 6mm plywood under it or on top of it if you wanted to, so you don't get any tear out. I am working on something else as well that I'll reveal a little bit later, but for the moment, this will get you out of strife. Okay, so that's that for Chris. Let's have a look out there in CNC land and see what's happening. Garage cam, transition. So there we go, she's still working merrily away out there. Composite nails. Now the question with composite nails for you, Luke, is if I, how do you get them out? See, with the screws, I just unscrew them and they're out. It takes a couple of seconds. But I do understand. I do understand. Okay. Using track dogs in the existing holes, I'll send some photos. Yes, I understand those. And Zane, John, using your track dogs would move the track over the edge, correct? Okay, the new path guide has the ability for offsets of 38 and 48. Correct, it does, but it will offset only in one direction. I'll come back to another one. We'll go to this one. This is so cool. Okay, so the 38 millimeters will only give me offsets, will give me 2 holes in the center. Back here I'll show it. 2 holes in the center rather than offsetting back here. See, I'm not on the same line. This way, I've come back around about 20 millimeters as well, and that's for a reason. Okay, I hope that works for you. What's the next thing I've got to do? I shall have a look at what we got planned, and well, actually, what I might do. Steve Rogerson sent in a really cute picture of one of his grandsons helping him out in the workshop. So here we go. Let's have a look at this. Okay, I've got another noise happening out there. Let's have a look. That other noise was the router going up, or the spindle. It was running at 18,000 RPM for the holes, and then it just jumped up to 22,000. That's why the increased sound just kicked through there. How cool is that? Okay, that's amazing. Oh yeah, definitely you can customize everything for yourself. Alrighty, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? I need to check. Teach him young. Isn't he a little cutie? All right, I'm going to have a quick look here at this. Whoop. Close that. That's not what I wanted. The next thing. Let's have, oh right, the Rode mic. Now, I made comment, the people that were my patrons, I love watching this machine work. We'll go back to this one. My patrons help out a lot, which is fantastic, and thank you so much to them. So I purchased one of these just recently for when I go live, and it's got this big fluffy thing. Looks like a cat, I guess, or a small hamster or something. And it plugs into my phone. It's a microphone. Now it's a shotgun microphone inside there. Now, I don't know how it's going to go. We'll find out. It may be terrible, but we'll see what happens. It plugs into the end of the phone. I'll have it facing back towards me. If it's windy, it's not going to affect anything. It'll be straight to me, and we'll see how it goes, because I'm going to go live at the Canberra Timber and Working with Wood show, which is next weekend. And hence, if you want free tickets to the Canberra Timber and Working with Wood show, I'm going to tell you how to do it. The first 10 people that email my email, which is in the show more box, you click that show more button below this screen. The first 10 people that email me asking for those tickets, you must be either close by in New South Wales or Canberra. I'm not going to do it outside the state or overseas. I will get those to you. Okay, so start emailing. And as I say, how I'm going to pick it is the order as they come in. All right, I think your composite nails would still aim for the waist areas, no need to remove, or place where they would be machined through. I'll do some research on removing. Peter Woolworth, 107.30 watching and 34 thumbs up. Nice kit, by the way. Yeah. So you see the machine down. I love watching it here as well. I do have to set something in here so that I can keep my eye on that while I'm doing other things in here. No, the reason John's saying he's not going to ask this year is because John and I are going to be taking out a stand down there as well. So I'm hoping you can hear me all right over that machine, because it's starting to get quite noisy out there. Hopefully the lapel mic is working all right. Let's make sure that it's up there. That might work better. Okay, so yeah, we got in touch with the organisers and said, you know, John got in touch with me first and said, look, I might take my dogs down there from the printer and see how they go. He said, you interested? Take the benches down there. And I said, yep, I'm very interested. So I got in touch with them and we arranged something to do the show with them. And so this is the latest one that I've finished, and it's got the apron and everything on it. This is magic, this one, absolutely beautiful. And if you can get down there, make sure you say good day to John, because John's going to be manning the store with Julia. I'll be working on the Trend Timbers stall, showing saw stop and Craig and all that kind of stuff. He's got beautiful timbers as well, and apparently there's going to be a fair few people with timber for sale as well. So what you need to do, oh thanks Gary for loud and clear. What you need to do is go to, just type in on a web browser, not now, a little bit later, or a second browser if you want to, Canberra Timber and Working with Wood shows. So it's Canberra, C-A-N-B-E-R-R-A, and 2018. And there's a list of everyone that's going to be there. I didn't think there'd be as many people as there were, because, you know, we had Wood Dust just been on. There seems to be quite a fair few people going. So do that. Be sure to do that. I need to see how that machine's going. You know what it's doing now? It's carving all of the words in. So see where it says Stanton Bench Australia across the front here? It's doing that. Now it's doing the R over in the corner there. And where's it off to next? It's fun watching it. It's doing C up here in the corner. So you can't see that, but just here, the C. Where's it off to now? It's going over to the middle. Okay, so now it's carving this section. Before it was carving another part, which I put in there to help you to assemble the thing. It says this edge must face towards the apron. So it's a piece of cake. It's so much fun building these things. Okay, so it's dave-stanton fans@gmail.com. If I've left .au at the end of it, get rid of that. It's just dave-stanton fans@gmail.com. Do that one, and I will check that when I can find my mouse. There it is. I get so used to writing .com.au. Turned off to run machine. What? Turned what off? No bounce here. Okay. Got no idea what's happening. Excellent. Great. Thanks, Derek. So I'm guessing I'll see Derek at the show if he was quick. Oh, thanks, Peter. That you hope that we do well. I'm watching this machine now. Where is it? It's down the far corner. So it's writing that instruction on how to do things. I love it. It's so much fun. I'm hoping when it hit that screw, I didn't knock a chip out of the carbide cutter. If it did, well, I'll just leave the machine set up the way it is and I'll tell it to start again. It goes over perfectly, exactly where it was. Just amazing. Okay, this all seems to be working well. The video might be buffering a bit. It could be from the router. So what's going to happen when it's finished this toolpath, I'll turn it off and I'll run the rest of it after. So we'll just let it finish. So there we go. See Where's it off to? It's going to do another little bit. I love watching it. I'm going to go over to the other side. Here we go. Have a watch. So it's finished. No, it hasn't. It's slowed down. Instead of being 22,000 RPM, it's gone back to 18,000. And now it's cutting out the top for the pencils. Doing the second pass. Oh, sorry. Okay. Leave the AU off. I'll jump in there now and have a quick look. Give me a second. Garage cam. I'll leave that on while I do it. And I'm going to go in and edit it. And hopefully I don't lose you. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. And it should save. Done. Okay, I can close that. And that's all good. Fixed. Wasn't too hard. Whoop, I didn't smooth the transition over. Here we go, I'll move it over to there now. Okay. What are you offering to, what are you trying to, oh sorry, what's happening now? I was just wondering why you're entering from the UK, but maybe you're just testing the email for me. What it's doing now is it's doing the perimeters with that V cutter. I'm going to duck in and have a quick look. I love it. It's done very well. Beautiful. Absolutely magic. Give me a second. I'm going to throw the eye muffs on, especially around that machine if it's throwing bits of carbide out now and then. And the decibels are probably up a little bit. Okay, all safe now. As I say, got these on. That's magic. So what it's doing at the moment is producing two benches. This is one full bench here, down this side. Down the end is another full bench. This is an MDF. Right, absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'll let it keep going there. Now obviously, it's not just for doing that stuff. There's a whole lot of other stuff that I'll be able to do with that machine as time goes by. But I want to get things absolutely perfect before I move on to doing more stuff. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to do some 3D stuff, or 2.5D at least, and that'll be fun. Sorry Dave, referring to the audio. Okay, Chris, you got a note? Unlucky in the corner. Jonathan, just got here and I'm curious, how does he have the plywood sheet that is currently cutting secured to the spoil board? Okay, so it's an MDF sheet and the spoil board is there and I've screwed down through it in set positions except for the one that I just smashed. Okay, so it's working great. How many benches do you get from a sheet? I get 2 full benches out of one sheet. Okay, Ken, Chris, what note say from your wife? Dave XB, I missed some of the show. Did Dave already adjust the thickness? Not yet. That's the next thing I'm going to do, Dave. Dave M, it's screwed down into the waist area. Darren Moore, looks like he answered you without even reading the question, Peter. All right, here we go. Let's get the thicknesser over here. And it's still cutting out. I love it. While I'm getting the thicknesser, you can watch the CNC in its largest format. There we go. You watch it finishing off that, and I'll get the machine over. Okay, the machine's just about finished its passes. Now this is my benchtop thicknesser. I haven't screwed it down onto the top yet. And let's say you're putting timber through. This doesn't do it, but I have heard of machines that do it. Putting timber through, and it'll be thicker on one side than it is on the other. So the head isn't cutting parallel to the base plate. So how we do that, it's turned itself off. It's finished that pass. We'll go out there in a minute and have a look. All right, it's very, very easy. You need 3 tools. A hex, this is a 5mm hex drive, a 1/2" spanner, and a 17mm socket. Okay? And once you've got those, it's pretty easy. I'm going to turn the fan off, the dust extractor off, and maybe that'll make the machine, show run a bit better. And the spindle. Yes, spindle off. There we go. A little less noise. How good is that dust extraction? There's no dust out there. It's just, I did a little thing while I've got you there. What I did was around the drum on the dust extractor where the plastic bag locks onto. The rubber that comes standard with these machines is very, very thin, and I was getting a little bit of leakage there, so I took that rubber off and I used the cushion strip, the 3mm thick cushion strip, and I stuck that right the way around and cut it in really neatly. And wow, what a difference. So if you find you're getting a bit of leakage here and there and it's not clamping up tight, try doing that. Also with the bags, when I reuse them, they stretch a little bit from all the dust in there, so you have to fold them over very neatly just before you do that last bit on the clamp. Here we go. This machine here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one end off the machine, and you might go, oh, what are we doing, Dave? It's easy. 2 screws on this particular one, and they go straight into the 2 posts at this end. This is a 4-post machine. There's a post there, and a post there, and a post there that the whole assembly rises up and down on. So we take that one out. That wasn't too hard. I'm still breathing, all that kind of stuff. Now, when you do this part, there's 3 pieces are reliant on those screws. So I'm going to hold onto the cover. So I'll turn it around this way a little bit further so you can see a bit more. I'm going to hold onto the cover. I'm going to lift all of that up, and it'll pop. Okay, so the cover, that will all fall off. And it's not hard to put it back on because I've done it all for you. So there we go. Now we have these exposed. This guy here is the screw thread. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'll turn it around there. Okay, you'll see it here. Now the thread has, down the bottom here, a 1/2" slot, or basically flats on the shaft that you can put a 1/2" or a 12mm open-ended spanner on. Now, don't undo that. There's a little washer and a bolt at the top. Don't undo that. All that does is stop the head winding right up and off the top. It's a a limiting point. You have that, and then under here, let me move those around a little bit further so we can see. Under here at the bottom of this is a 17mm bolt, or nut I should say. So I'm going to flip this up on its side and down so you can see it. So the machine's over on its side, just here. Where the shaft comes through, get your socket wrench. Now don't go crazy with this, only tiny turns. Now I found with mine that I can turn it all without holding on to this, but you may want to put the spanner on there as well. So I'm going to turn it around a bit more that way. So the 1/2-inch spanner, and you just turn it together very, very slowly, just a little bit. Now to make it go up on the left-hand side, I think you need to turn it as though you're tightening. So set the ratchet to tighten, and that will turn the thread as you're looking. So I'm trying to work out which side we're from, the left or the right hand, the bottom or the top of the machine. From the bottom of the machine, you're going to pull it. Jingos. Yeah, it's in a tightening motion. So whichever way, I was khaki-handed. See, there we go. I'm around this side now. It makes a whole lot more sense for me. So pushing down that way as I'm tightening, that would rotate it and push that side of the head up. Going counterclockwise, and so flip it, so I'm going to undo, it lowers it down. Very, very easy. Only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Now I'll see if I can find a tape measure here. Move out of the way. The reason I'm getting a tape measure is I'm going to try and tell you how many threads per inch it is. And that will give you an indication as to how far you're going to go. So I've got roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an 8 TPI, I think. So one turn is going to, one full rotation will raise you 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so a quarter of a rotation will be 8 times 4 is 1/32 of an inch. That'll give you an indication as to how high up or how low you need to go. All right, so does that make sense to everyone? Now, the thing is, I'm now going to put it back together because yesterday it was a bit of a headache, but I've addressed it. So let's put it back together because mine, as I say, mine out of the box was perfect. So, as I would have expected. But over time, you'll understand that there's a lot of vibration happens with these machines, especially if you haven't been, if your knives have got a little bit blunt. Now, putting it back together, this pushes on, these pull apart. So try and put this back together, make sure you've got the rubber grip in there because it saves your hands when you're moving things around. And I'm going to put that back into there. There's a little ridge there, and it's quite easy to put back. Put it under there first. Let me do that in front of you so you can see it. So that up, and there, I think there was a bit of silicone on there. It's probably come off now. So I'm going to put this into there and under, and then I'm going to push it down onto the receiving part. Okay? From the inside looking to make sure I've got it correct. Okay, all good. I'll show you there from on the inside. See, where is it? Just there. There. There's a little slot for it. Now we put it back on, and there's a slot in the bottom in the casting for it to drop onto as we push it down on top. And there's a couple of holes here. See those two holes? They have to line up with the top of the poles and go over them. We do this first. Don't try to do any of the other part first. Okay. Now, whilst I was doing all of that, I was holding the black plastic section up into that as well. Now, we don't even look at this yet. Forget it. I tried to put it all together yesterday, and I was thinking, why isn't it going together? Why isn't it? And there's a trick. There's a trick. Okay, so we put this back on. So this is only going to take a couple of seconds, and you do it yourself. You know, if you're confident enough, tighten those up. The other one, Guys, if there's anything else that I said that I'd cover, I haven't got any notes with me at the moment, so if you can let me know. Okay, got them on. This one from the front. It doesn't really matter whether it's from the front or from the left or from the right, but I like to have the tape measure to the left-hand side as I'm feeding the timber in. It's a push fit. You watch this. So we put her on up to there, and then over there at the back and down, and I'm going to go click. Finished. That's it. Done. How easy was that? If you like what I'm doing, make sure you click the like, subscribe to the channel. I keep coming up with these things. Anything that I find that I need to address, I do it straight away, and I share it with you guys. So that's something that I had no idea. I spent about an hour yesterday stuffing around, and then I got it all sorted. Okay, what is the make of the CNC machine, Yuli? It's a CNC router part. See across the top, I've got CNC router parts cam on it, and that's on purpose because those guys helped me out. I'm going to help them out. Okay, so we'll go to CNC router parts cam again. And lovely people. All right, yes, looked at XCarb, but OX CNC, more robust. Okay, here we go. Dave, that's cool, John, but I'm struggling. Dust extraction is a review video. Oh, yes. I'm just reading through everything else again, and I'm going to come back to this one. All right, 12 o'clock. I think we've got everything. I'm hoping I've got everything covered. Again, let me know. We did the microphone, we did the CNC running, how to throw sheets up on it, how to adjust parallel for that. Let me see. I'm going to jump out of this screen, go to another one. Cam 1, I think that one there will go to, and whilst that's happening, I'm going to do a quick sneaky check around the back. And what's on that picture there? If I can find it. Whoop! Throw it back up again. Lost it. Scary. This one here's got the file and desktop. Won't be long. Where is that picture? Yeah, I'm a little bit disorganized this morning. There it is. How to adjust this planer to parallel, free wood show tickets, how to load onto the CNC. Look, I think I've got everything covered. What do you reckon? Cool, John, but I'm struck. Okay, I'm going to slide down here further on the chat and go to this one and flick back over to there. The CNC's parked itself in the corner. Where are we? Yes, CNC router parts are based in the States. The parts for it come from all around the world. It's international, but a lot of it comes from the States. Derek, great show. See you next weekend. Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Dave, as always. Informative and fun. I try and keep it that way. Next thing, Barry, Dave, great show. Good to take the fear out of adjusting machines. Oh, it's easy. People want you to be scared of it because then they'll charge you to do it. You know, there's some things that you need to be licensed to do, but a lot of stuff you can do your own if you're comfortable with it. And I say that with a lot of weight behind it. If you're not comfortable about it, don't do it because it's going to cost you more in the long run. If you stuff something up, yeah, just get someone else to do it if you're that way. John Org, thanks for another interesting show. Steve, thanks. Darren, might see you in Canberra if I win the tickets, Darren. One packed show. Well done, Dave. Wayne Jones, great show. Again, keep safe. Another great show. How much does the CNC take up? My particular one takes around 10 feet by 10 feet all up. So it takes basically 1/4 of the garage. Den's Bush Pig, thanks Dave, great show. Peter, last live show for me until the next time change. Well, you can watch it in the recording. First time checking you out. Great stuff. Be safe. Thanks, Uli. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone now. And anyway, you can watch the rest of it in recording, Russ. Hope to see you at the show, Dave. Okay. Thanks, Ken. intro and text, and here we go. And thank you again to all of my patrons. You make this show possible. If you want to support the show as well, by all means, have a look down in the description box where it says Patreon and how you can help me out. It's fantastic. You can support a little bit or a lot, whatever you want to do. These people that support, you know, towards the higher end, get their name thrown up on the screen, and we all get to smile and say thank you. Thanks for watching. Keep on coming back, and I shall see you next time. Here's something else just before you go, if you haven't gone. All the others might have gone, but don't worry about them. If you're the kind of person that sits in a theatre after a movie and go, yeah, that was nice, and have a chat about it, well, there you go. Here's the thing. Subscribe to my other channel. That's where all of these videos will go to. They stay on my main channel for a week, the live shows, then I push them over to the other channel. If you need to know how to do this adjustment that I just did on that machine and want to refer to it, it won't be on my main channel after a week. It will go. It will go to the other one. Go over there, subscribe to it, and everything will be archived, the date on it, and basically what the show entailed. So thanks for watching again. I shall see you later. And we turn this off.